everybody, it's Teresa. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to make a little adjustable cord bracelet today. I've got one here that I made already because I had to try and remind myself how to do it because it's been a while since I've done one of these. I've been playing around with some beads in my stash today and some Irish waxed linen that I got from Lima Beads. Lima Beads they do free shipping February every year, and I always take advantage of that. I get a lot of my findings, like jump rings and head pins and eye pins and stuff from them. And they had some of their Irish wax linen on sale, so I got a few different colors. This is Robin's Egg Blue is what this is called. And I had these beads in my stash. These are 6 by 8 millimeter. It's called Cornflower Blue Silver Half Metallic. I got them from Beadbox Bargains. I doubt they have them now because it's been a long time ago. And then these are some little light sapphire check fire polish 6 millimeter beads, and then just some little silver daisy spacers. And I did the little adjustable thing and did the little decoration on the ends. Of course I can't put it on me because my arm's too big, but you just put it on your arm and then pull on each little end here, and it makes it adjustable where you can pull it up real tight or you can adjust it out like that. They're really neat. They're really easy to make and quick and easy if you need like a real quick gift or something. They're not hard to make at all. I just had to remind myself how to do it because I hadn't done it in a while. So I'm going to get my beads that I'm going to use to make the one on video that I'm going to make here today, and I'll be back. Okay, these are the beads I'm going to use today. I have no idea what these are called. I've had these forever. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I guess 6 sides to them. 6 flat sides to them. And I've had them forever. I don't know where. I'm sure I got them in a subscription box, maybe Dollar Bead box when I was subscribed to it years ago. But I don't know what they're called. These are some 6 millimeter amethyst bicone beads that I got from Bead Crate when I was subscribed to it. I'm telling y'all, I've been subscribed to almost all the boxes at one point or another. These are some 4 by 6 millimeter. Let's see, I've got it here. Lavender Steel Blue Luster Rondelle beads. And these, I know I got these from Dollar Bead Box when I was subscribed to it. They're just some really colorful, I think they've got like an AB coating daisy spacers. They've got they're like purple and gold and just all kinds of colors dancing around in there. I know I got them because I ordered some extras of them because I liked them so much, and then I let them sit around in my stash and haven't even ever used them. This is some lavender Irish wax linen. It's 4-ply. That's what the blue was too that I used. And these little cord bracelets are really good for spring and summer because they're really light and, you know, easy to wear in the spring and summer. But I mean, what's a bracelet without a pair of earrings? I mean, you know, I just always have to go for the earrings too. So I've got some stuff in here to make some earrings. Just a couple of the beads that I don't know what they're called, and a couple of the bicones, and a few of the little rondelles, and some ear wires, and a couple of head pins, and a couple of ball head pins, and a couple of eye pins. I've got my scissors, of course, to cut my cord, and I've got my beading awl to guide a few knots, and I've got my chain nose pliers and both pairs of my bent chain nose pliers. I'll only need these. Well, I'll only need all these tools when I do the earrings because the only thing I'll need for the bracelet is my beading awl and my scissors. I'll put a link to all this stuff as much as I can find in the description box below. Like I said, I've said on a video before, these are Zuron, and I got these from BB Craft years ago, and these are Zuron, and they have a very sharp 90-degree bend there. They have a pair of Zuron that's more like this, where the bend is not so sharp, and I think I probably would have rather had those, so I'll put a link to those kind in the description box too, in case you want to get those instead of the real sharp 90-degree angle ones. And I've got my Zuron cutters and my Zuron tweezer pliers. And I've got my round nose pliers that I got from Baby Craft years ago. And I've got my crimping pliers that I'm just going to use to tuck in the end of my wires when I cut off the wire, the little burr that's left. I find that's the little round part of the crimping pliers is easier to tuck in my wires instead of my flat nose pliers. When I try to do it with my flat nose pliers, I end up usually mangling my loop and everything. So these are more helpful to me for that. I think that's everything. I'll get some of this out of the way and I'll be back. Okay, I've got my beads poured out here that I'm going to use. But before I get started, my little New Orleans shot glass cried out and said, "How could you possibly forget to introduce me?" I use this to put my little pieces of wire in when I cut them off. Kind of helps keep them out of the floor, but then again, I've let him get too full. I need to empty him because I sometimes end up tipping him over, and that completely defeats the purpose of putting them in there to keep him out of the floor. But he didn't like it that I forgot to introduce him. I've got a piece of Irish wax linen here. This is about 24 inches. It's way more than I need. I was playing around and I didn't know how much I needed. When I did the blue bracelet, I cut about 15 inches for it, but then I barely had enough. So I would probably go with about maybe 18 to 20 inches just to make sure you have enough and you're not struggling to tie your knots at the end. So I'm just going to do a really simple little pattern here. I'm going to do a daisy spacer and a little rondelle bead and one of these bicones and a little rondelle bead. Sometimes you just have to squish the wax in on your Irish wax linen to get it to go through the beads. And then I'm going to do another daisy spacer and one of these big beads and a daisy spacer. And then I'm going to do a little rondelle and a bicone bead and another little rondelle and a daisy spacer. And another big bead and a daisy spacer and a rondelle and a bicone and a rondelle and a daisy spacer and a big bead and a daisy spacer and a rondelle and a bicone and a rondelle a daisy spacer. Of course, you can do this with any kind of cord. You don't have to use Irish wax linen. You can use any kind of cord you want to, just as long as your beads will go through it, or the cord will go through your beads. Having a little bit of trouble getting him on there. he just don't want to go on there. I'm going to have to try another one. Like I've said before, all bead holes are not created equal. Plus, it could just be that my Irish wax linen is getting a little bit frayed there at the end. That's another reason to cut extra, because you might need to angle cut it as you go to get it through your beads. Try him again. Yeah, there we go. That's probably what it was. My cord was just getting a little bit frayed. And now I'm going to do another big bead and another daisy spacer. And a rondelle and a back comb. And a rondelle. And I'm going to end with a daisy spacer. Of course, it being my last one, it would have to be giving me trouble. Okay, there we go. Now, come on now, okay. Now I'm going to push all this down. And that's what I've got. And I'm going to find the ends of my cord here. And I'm going to push this all down so it's centered, approximately centered on the cord, like that. And now I'm just going to tie an overhand knot here just to keep my beads in the center there where I want them to be. I'm going to use my beading awl, and I'm going to guide my knot. Well, I don't need to lose him out of there. He ain't going to guide my knot if I lose him out of there. Okay. Just pull my knot tight there. Now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And I'm going to pull my knot down. I don't want it to be real tight against the beads because I want them to be able to move a little bit, but I don't want them to be able to just move a whole lot. So I'm going to make a knot there. They've still, well, that might be a little bit too much movement, but I might have left a little bit too much in there. I don't know. I think it'll be all right, though. That way they have room to move around, but so they're not just real crowded against each other. So now I'm going to take my both ends of my cord and one of these little rondelles. When you do this part, you want to have a bead that will fit over both your cords. But you want it to be like, you don't want it to fall when you're holding it. You want it to be big enough to go over both your cords, but you don't want it to be loose and fall down through there. You want it to be, but not too tight. I wanted to put one of these bicones here, and I started to, and I was able to get both cords through it, but it was on there so tight that if I had moved it very many times, it would have frayed the cord. So this one is pretty good. It moves easily, but it's not going to fall with you as you're working with it. So I'm going to bring that up, and then you just have to decide here how long you want to leave here. If I'm not making it for myself, of course, if you're making it for yourself, you would just want to put it on your hand and see how much room you need to get it over the biggest part of your hand, and then you would tie your knot there, your knots there. But I'm, of course, not making it for me, so I usually do about maybe a couple of inches on each side, or an inch and a half. Let's see how much that is. That's about 1 3/4 inches. Might go just a little bit more. I mean, it doesn't matter all that much. It's adjustable, so it'll probably be all right. Now I'm going to tie an overhand knot with one of my cords. And I'm going to use my beading awl, and I'm going to bring it up here close to my bead that I'm using to be my little slider here. And then I'm just going to do that again and try to get the same distance on each side here. I'll do that with my other cord. Bring it down here and try to get it about the same spot. I like that. So now when you pull, it'll adjust up, and then it'll just adjust down to the knots there that you made. And now I'm going to tie a knot just a little ways. I'm going to put a little decoration on the end. Of course, you don't have to do this, but you know I like all the dangles and decorations and stuff. So I'm going to make a knot just not far from the knot I made to stop my bead there. Just whatever distance you think looks good. And I'm going to make a knot on this side, and I don't necessarily want it to be in the same spot. I kind of like them to be a little bit offset from each other, so I'm just going to make it maybe a little bit closer up than that one. No, it's not off by much though. Now I'm going to take a daisy spacer. One of my little rondelles. And a daisy spacer. Push it up to my knot. And again, I'm not going to tie it too tight up against the beads, but because I want them to be able to move a little bit. Make me a knot up fairly close to my bead, but not real tight. They can still move there a little bit, and I'm just going to do the same thing over here. My spacer, my little rondelle, my spacer. And then make me another overhand knot. Take my beading awl and just guide my knot. Like that. And now I'm just going to cut off my cords down here fairly close. And there's my little adjustable bracelet. It's really simple, really easy. If this wasn't waxed cord, I probably would put a little GS Hypo cement on my knots, but since it's waxed, I don't think these knots are coming out. But if you were using something like Essilon or something that's not waxed, you probably would want to put a little bit of GS Hypo cement on there. So that's that. So now let me get my beads here and we'll make a little quick pair of earrings. Okay, I've got my beads out here to make one of my earrings. I've got a ball head pin here. You don't have to have a ball head pin. You can use a regular head pin. I was going to show, I got these, and I'll put a link to these in the description box in case y'all want to use them. I got these ball head pins from Amazon, and they're not really very straight. They come not really very straight. It does not really matter because by the time you get your loop, you bend it over and make your loop and everything, it's not going to really matter. If it does bother you, you can take a pair of nylon jaw pliers like I've got here and just straighten them some. Like that. I've got one here that is fairly straight. It's straighter than a lot of them come. But like I said, it doesn't really matter all that much, and you can straighten it with your nylon jaw pliers. You get a lot of them. Ball head pins can be kind of expensive. You get a lot of them for a fairly reasonable price. So that doesn't really bother me. So I'll put a link to those in the description box too, but I just wanted to show you that. So I'm going to put on one of my daisy spacers and my big bead and another daisy spacer. And then I'm going to take my pliers here. I'm going to go to the tip of my pliers. And then I want to have a very long neck. I'm going to bend the wire at a 90-degree angle over the pliers. I'll take my round nose pliers and put them in the crook of the bend, round nose pliers facing me. I'm going to bend my wire back till it hits the bead. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. Hold on really tight. Take this part of the wire and bend it up until it's hitting the bottom of the tool. Can't go any further. Then I'm going to cock it back a little to center that loop over the bead. And that usually sets your wire up at almost straight up there. Now I'm going to take my bent chain nose pliers and hold on. And the reason I use the bent chain nose pliers here, and I know y'all have probably heard me say this before, and I don't mean to bore you repeating myself, but I know I also have some people that are brand new to beading and maybe they don't know. The reason I use the bent chain nose pliers here is it just keeps the pliers out of the way a little bit. If I use my straight pliers, they would be just straight across there and more in the way. And this just helps a little bit to keep them out of the way. So I'm going to take my other pair of bent chain nose pliers, and then I'm going to hold real tight because I don't want my loop to get out of shape. And I'm going to start wrapping. And the first wrap is really important. If you get it around there good and tight, then the rest of them usually work out well. And it is important, it helps to just do this at a half a turn at a time, at like a 45-degree turn, rather than, you'll see me sometimes go around all at once, but that's really not a good way to do it. You can control it better and get better wraps if you do it just like a half a turn at a time. Now I'm going to take my cutters and cut off my extra wire. And then I'm going to take my tweezer pliers, my crimping pliers, and go into that little part at the end there that has the little rounded part and tuck in my little burr that was left when I cut off my wire. Now I'm going to take my eye pin and a rondelle and a bicone and a rondelle, And I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to go a little bit above the bead I don't want to crack my bead, so I'm going to go just a little bit above the bead and bend it at a 90-degree angle. Then I'm going to take my cutters and cut, leaving probably about 1/4 of an inch of pin there. I'm going to hold on here so it doesn't go flying and cut it off. Then I'm going to take my round nose pliers and put them in here and make sure there's no wire, none of the pins sticking out like that. You don't want that. You want it right at the end where there's nothing sticking out. And then I'm just going to roll back a loop. Well, it's fighting me today. I want to make sure to get it closed up really well. And if your top loop is not straight with your bottom loop, as mine almost never are, you can take 2 pairs of your pliers and just straighten it up like that. Now I'm going to take my link I just made and I'm going to open one of the sides, and I always make sure to at some point open the loop that came on the eye pin, because they're oftentimes not really closed well, so I always make sure to check them. And this is the side of the loop that came already made on the eye pin. I'm going to close it up real well. Now I'm going to take my earring finding here and I'm going to open it up. I always twist it open like we do jump rings. Never pull it apart. Always twist everything open. I'm going to put that on there. Twist it back closed. And there's one little earring. So I'll make the other one off camera and I'll be back. Okay, so there's my little adjustable cord bracelets, and this one has the earrings to go with it. Like I said, these are real easy to wear in the summer. They're really light. They're really good for gift giving. If you have to whip up a quick gift, they don't take long at all to make. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed to my channel and watched my videos and liked and commented on my videos. I have a website where I sell my jewelry. It's Teresa's Handmade Jewelry, and I'll put a link to it in the description box below in case you're interested, along with a link to my Facebook and Instagram and my email. If you haven't, I'd really love it if you'd subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified when I upload a new video. So until next time, I hope you all have a great day. Take care.
Thank you.